Today on How to Flank in BattleBit, we will be focusing on the map Basra. Now Basra is going to echo my district video heavily, so if you haven't seen that, you should probably see that too. But basically what that means is we're going to be focusing on verticality today. The two objectives that are super flankable on Basra are C and B. There might be some other opportunities to flank around the map, but I think those chances are very whimsical. You know, sometimes you'll get there, sometimes you won't. The map just has a ton of water and open space for both snipers and tanks to constantly pester you, so that's what makes it hard in areas that aren't C or B. So I think I'm going to tackle C first because the areas you want to attack are really easy to pinpoint on a map. So really there are 4 areas around the boat you should constantly be looking at on the map to determine where you want to attack. These areas are at the tip of the 2 ends of the boats, pretty much on either side. What happens really is one team is on the inside of the boat in the objective, and the other team is trying to get into that objective from the outside of the boat, and that's where you get your stalemates at those entrance points. Here is an example of this in a spectated game. As you can see, there are a ton of enemies piling into this natural choke point at the entrance of the boat. Well, now you may be asking yourself, how do I exploit this? As I said earlier, the best way to do this would be to flank from a high area. And for the boat, this means you should go from the top level down to the first level. Now, unfortunately, this isn't a perfect path. You're going to run into a lot of problems, namely snipers from the banks of the B objective, and the occasional random enemy every once in a while. However, in my opinion, this is the path of least resistance due to the open nature and water aspects of Basra that we talked about earlier. Now, probably the easiest way to get onto the top level of the boat is to grapple up the side of the boat that faces your spawn, like the end of the boat that faces your spawn. But obviously, if you can get up safely in any spot, just do it. And as proof of this method working, I'm going to provide you guys some clips of my own. So here I'm going to be jumping off from the top of the boat and attacking one of the sides of the boat. As you can see, these players are completely unaware for a good 5 or 10 seconds that I'm down there. In this example, I've flanked my way up to the top level, and I'm going to be jumping off one of the tips of the boat and attack my enemies from there. This is pretty much the same strategy as the last clip, except here the enemies are so preoccupied that I kind of tear through them all without them really noticing. This clip is surprising because I somehow jump at my enemy from the mid-level, yet I still kind of catch them off guard. Here is another side of the boat example, and I just want to emphasize that whenever you can find cover to keep your flank going, you should probably take that cover. This one's a fun one because I'm jumping inside the boat instead of outside of it, and it works just as well. Oh yeah, and you should probably know how much equipment you're given at the start of the life, so you don't run into any awkward encounters like this one. So jumping to B, I must admit I don't have as concrete of a plan as I do for C. However, I still think I have a strategy to provide that can work when certain situations arise. But first, generally when approaching B, at least when you're not on the spawn side of it, I would suggest coming from the warehouse side, basically the side opposite of A. I say this because in my experience, when trying to attack the snipers that always like to perch themselves up there, it's a lot easier to do so from that warehouse side than from the A side. Nevertheless, what you want to do is either establish a spawn point or get some squad members right above the B entrance that faces C. But then what you want to do is wait till the enemy has pushed out of that objective. You don't want to try to go after them in that objective because it's really hard to do so, but if you wait for them to come out, you can exploit the fact that they're not really looking up at you. This can also work if they're pushing into the objective and your team holds B. Again, what you really want is just people to be right at that entrance. Not in it, not super far out of it, right at it. There are some times though, in other game modes like Frontlines, where it can be beneficial to go at it some other ways. I must admit this does involve playing around with the spawn areas, as in Frontlines, you can be in the other team's spawn area a lot longer than in other game modes, so you can kind of flank that way, like flank through that veil, even if they can see on the map, because a lot of times people aren't even looking at the map. Anyways, I hope these bits of flank knowledge on Basra can help you improve your BattleBit game. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like it, or want to see a video for a different map, please like and comment on this video and tell me what you want to see. As always though, thank you all so much for watching.